Well, good morning, everybody. We are now in our next episode of the investment series. So here's our cheat sheet, right? Our master guide. And we are right here in the middle of the yellow risk. We're going to talk about gold and silver today. Remember, we're in the yellow section of this now, which means once your money buys the asset, you lose any access to its performance or any ability to know what the performance is going to be. It's not fixed rate of return in any way. So we've climbed up the risk matrix kind of along with ETFs now. So when you buy your ETF, it's a market force that drives the value of your investment. And when you buy gold and silver, guess what? The world decides what the value of gold and silver is. Once you buy it, the market decides what it's worth. So what are we smoking? So I've got a new Meerschaum pipe. It is from Black Meerschaum. More on that later. And what's in it? Mad Fiddler Flake. More on that later too. In fact, I'm going to do a separate video today. I'm making too many damn videos. You guys have asked me so many questions. I feel like I'm hoarding your watch time here. But you guys ask good questions. So we're going to do a video when this one's done about Black Meerschaum and Mad Fiddler Flake. Not this video, the next one. This is the second bowl, by the way. Thank you, Greg. Pack this one a little too heavy. Hate it when I do that. Do you dump it out and repack it, or do you suffer through it? I dumped it out and repacked it. I did not want to suffer through a bad bowl because of me. Much better. Much better. All right, that's my answer. When you overpack it, even if it's immediately lit, just dump it out and repack it. Says a guy with 1 year smoking experience. So guys, in researching and writing this episode, it taught me and justified why I didn't want to do this series. This episode is in no way a comprehensive conversation about gold and silver, okay? It's too big of a subject. There's too many options. I'm going to do my best and keep this video at some sort of reasonable length. So remember, this is for education, this is for entertainment. This is not, don't go buy anything off of this video, okay? This is meant to start your journey of knowledge. This isn't meant to be your journey of knowledge, okay? So let's take care of each other here. I'll get you started. Don't do anything stupid off this video and then get mad at me because I'm warning you. I'm only scratching the surface. A 15-20 minute vid on gold and silver investing, it can't even be called scratching the surface. So we'll start high and we'll drop into facts. I've got screens pulled up for you. It's a really nice tamper, by the way. So why do people buy gold and silver? So if you do any investigation, you'll find out there's about a 7,000 year history of owning gold. I mean, it goes all the way back to I think it's the Egyptian days when records started. It is generally considered in the investment world an inflation hedge. It's not generally considered a wealth building material. It is generally considered a wealth preservation tool. There's a lot of things coming at us in the world that might make that statement wrong. And I've told you at the beginning, I've personally put a significant amount of my family's resources into gold and silver. So the argument is an ounce of gold or an ounce of silver, when you valued it in 1900 and you value it today, it's about the same. And the classic example everybody uses is a suit. A super nice high-end men's suit is about $2,000 today, and the price of gold is about $2,000 an ounce. And 100 years ago, a suit was $200, and gold was about $200 an ounce. You'll see that example used over and over. I think it's a bit of a cliche at this point, but it's a good way in 1 minute to show you the example of what you mean when gold holds its value. The dollar today is worth about 3 cents of when it was created. The dollar as we know it today was created in 1913. And that dollar held from 1913 in cash to today is worth 3 cents, or maybe even a little less now. It's quite, in the last 2 or 3 years, it's been a problem. It'll eventually go to zero and we'll have to reset the dollar. That is not for this conversation. But that's what the conversation is. If you held dollars, if you had $1 million in 1913 and you held it in a jar, it'd have to be a pretty damn big jar. But if you held it in a jar, it'd be worth 3 cents on the dollar. If you held gold, it would be worth about what it was worth in 1913. My Smarty Bob clicker ain't working. Many in the investment world today will tell you that gold and silver investing is the old man shit. It's no longer relevant and you should switch your thinking to crypto or something like that. That may be true. I don't know. What I'll tell you is governments throughout the world use gold as a basis for their savings. They call, at the national level, it's called reserves, right? And many countries have been, over the last 5 years, have been buying gold like crazy. They actually store it. They used to store it at the New York Central Bank. One of the Die Hard movies dealt with that. It was pretty funny. It's a good movie, by the way. But a lot of countries have moved it away and outside the United States because, we're going to talk politics for a minute here, because the U.S. government has demonstrated that we will weaponize currency, gold and money, if we feel like it's beneficial to us. So, Russia attacked Ukraine and we immediately froze every asset we could. And so other countries said, holy crap, if I do something to piss off the U.S., they're going to lock up all my reserves. And so there's just been this absolute flood of reserve gold leaving the United States in shipping containers because they don't want it held or frozen. But that doesn't change the investment side of the story. And that is, most countries use gold as their standard reserve. Gold and U.S. Treasury bonds or treasury notes. And most super wealthy have significant gold reserves. So that tells me it's not gone the way of the old man system. That gold and silver are still relevant for reserves. That's why I've done it. I've done it because it protects value and has for 7,000 years. And the people I try to model myself after do it. So therefore I do it. So the other argument that it may be more than just an inflation hedge is the diminishing supply of both. The earth is running out of gold and silver reserves. It may not be for years before it really impacts anything, but what's in the ground that can actually be dug out, the number of mines or potential mines is really crashing. They're just not finding the veins like they used to. And so it's getting harder and harder to extract these things from the earth itself. The other thing is the rate of demand for these products, gold and silver, is beginning to far exceed our pace of getting it out of the ground, the mining of these precious metals, and not just gold and silver. You can talk about platinum and several others, but I just don't do it. I don't know anything about it. But the rate is constant, right? How many mines, how many diggers, how many miners, how fast you process the ore into precious metal. That capacity doesn't go up or down a whole lot, and it certainly doesn't change quickly. So one of the examples of why people think silver might explode in value other than inflation is the electric vehicle movement. The amount of silver that goes into each and every electric vehicle is pretty high. So as that industry has taken off, the consumption of silver has gone up considerably. In fact, silver is used industrially more than anywhere else. So that's why. In fact, there was a couple of thoughts 2 years ago that Tesla might need, to keep up with their production rate, they would need every ounce of silver mined in the world starting kind of any day now, 2024-ish. Now we'll see. We'll see if the EV craze continues. It's certainly, the shine is off of it a little bit right now, but that doesn't mean it won't stop. And it might not change the fact that every ounce mined needs to go to an EV. That will change the value of the silver in your holdings if that happens. All right, let's say that you've come to the decision through lots of research and investment talk and strategizing that you want to add gold or silver to your investment portfolio. There are many ways to do it. There are many products out there. So one of the easiest is to go find a gold or gold and silver or silver ETF. Remember yesterday's conversation? You can buy them. There are lots and lots of choices, and millions of people buy their gold and silver by purchasing shares of an ETF in the open market. So you're not really touching gold or silver in any way. You're buying a paper product in the form of an ETF on the open market. And you can buy and sell it every minute the market's open. You can buy and sell them. That's kind of zero entry barrier. As long as you can afford a share, you can buy it. You can buy it and sell it in a moment's notice as long as the market you've bought it on is open. So there's real flexibility there. You can play in the gold and silver futures market. That is not for this conversation. You can actually buy stock in gold and silver miners. It's called the miners, M-I-N-E-R-S, miners. You can also buy stock in the small miners, and lots of people do that. I choose not to. And another way is to actually buy gold and actually buy silver. And we're going to talk about what kind of products are out there for you to purchase, and who do you go to do that, and what do you do with it if you do that. So if you've decided that the product you want to use in this part of your investment strategy is to buy actual gold and silver, you've got to find a metals broker. And there's a bunch online, and that's how I've chosen to do it. You can also, if you're doing this in small bits, you can go to your local pawn shop or your local gold and silver dealer. You see them out there, they've got storefronts out there and all that. Make sure you've done your research if you're going to do it locally. And make sure you've done with the current spot price. We'll get into that. Don't worry, I'll teach you what that means. You got to know what these prices are before you walk into the store, so that when they tell you what their spot price is, you know that's either competitive or it is not. You then need to know what the premium they're going to charge, and we'll go into that too. Don't worry about it. But you need to know what the market premium and the spot market prices are. So if you walk into a pawn shop or a gold and silver store near you, that you understand what the market pricing is on that day. Don't do your research and then go to the store a couple of weeks later. Do it that day. A lot of people do this. If you're going to buy 1 ounce of silver or 10 ounces of silver, and you're going to do it like, you're going to do it regularly, getting to know the local guy might be kind of a good way to do it. You might make a friend out of it. You get to know, he'll eventually know you're serious, and he'll help you. He'll teach you about the market. He might even call you when prices are good. So there's real benefits to just finding your local pawn shop or your local gold and silver store and really building a relationship with that person if they really kind of prove out to be somebody you can trust and somebody you want to build a relationship with. I chose to go online. I use an online broker. And we're going to turn around now. We're going to go to the screens. I'm going to show you some of the online broker options. And I'll tell you who I use, but it's not a recommendation. I'm not sure they're better than, the top 5 or 10 online brokers are probably all relatively the same. I went to them because they have availability that my local guys didn't. And I've got to drive. I kind of live in, butt scratch Maryland. So I've got to drive basically 30 miles to my closest local guy. And I just didn't feel like doing that. All right, guys, we're starting with my screens like we did yesterday. And this is not adjusted. This is the price of gold in the not inflation adjusted, over the last 100 years. You can see it didn't change a whole lot from when this charts, 1916, 15, it didn't really change much until we get into like 1971. And that's not, 1970s when Nixon took us off the gold standard. And this is where economy started to bifurcate. This is where the average common man started to get screwed in the world by inflation. So we got taken off the gold standard, and you can see what's happened to the price of gold since then. And I just want to know, it's not always up, right? If you bought here, let me see, where is that? If you bought in like 1980 at $660, you lost money for 20 years, right? And if you bought it in August of 2000 at 270, you're a happy camper. But if you bought it in July of 2011, you lost real money. And 4 years later, you've lost 70% of your money. So you just have to be careful. It's not straight up. But you can see that if you bought it, let's say you bought it in 17 or 18, here we are 7 years later, you're doing quite well. So you just have to be aware of these spikes and be careful about buying at the top of the market. So this is why dollar cost averaging, that whole concept of being regular, makes sense. And then here's an example of Consumer Affairs, and they're saying here are the top 5 online gold dealers they recommend. I don't know these guys. I'm not going to talk about them, but Lear Capital, Oxford Gold Group, Orion Metals, Noble Gold, Patriot Gold. And so there's companies out here, that's what they do. They rate online gold brokers. So I'm not going to tell you which rater to go to. This is just one example, and I'm not going to tell you, which broker to use. Okay, so this is who I use. It's not a recommendation. I haven't bought it. I haven't bought gold or silver in 4 or 5 years, so I'm not going to recommend these guys, but this is who I went with. And when you come onto their landing site, you'll see some very key things right here. Live spot prices. Gold, the spot price is $2,092.94. And silver is $23.30. That's their ask. That's how much they're going to charge for current spot pricing. For gold, $2,092.94. Silver, $23.20. And then you can see they have platinum and palladium and a whole bunch of others, but I'm not going there. All right. So the first thing I want is you need to know the spot price. And then you say, we'll talk about these different options in a minute. But let's say you wanted to buy brand new 2024 1 ounce American Silver Eagles. And you can see here that it's as low as $29.29, but that's in bulk. And we're going to talk about that too, so don't get too panicked about it. But what I want you to see is you can buy it as low as $29.29, but wait a minute. You said up here the spot price is $23.20, and the lowest I can buy it from these guys is $29.29. What the hell is going on here? Where did the other where'd the $6 come from? So where did that $6 come from? That brings up something. I need you to stop what you're doing and listen to me. All right? Look at your device. Don't be distracted. I need you to get this concept. Spot, premium, price. Okay? Spot is what the world believes an ounce of silver or gold is worth today. It changes by the second. It fluctuates up and down throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month. The spot price is the general consensus of what the metal is worth today. The premium is that $6. The difference between what you're going to pay and the spot price is called premium. And premium is market driven. Premium is like the MSRP on a car is the spot price, but what the sticker price at your auto dealer is got the premium mixed in. And if you're trying to buy the hottest car in the market, you're not going to get it from MSRP. They're going to put a dealer markup on it. That's what this is, okay? Premium is dealer markup. Everybody does it. You're not going to find zero premium. It doesn't exist, all right? So don't think you're some sweet deal car buyer and you're gonna get the sweetest deal on your metals. It just doesn't work that way. Premium goes up and down with how much it is in demand. And so you have to be careful because as a price, I'm going to use silver because I suspect most of you are more in the $20 range and not the $2,000 an ounce range. As silver becomes more and more in demand, and is in pretty high demand right now, premium goes up, okay? And so you think, well, premium's really high right now, so I'm going to wait for premium to come down. Well, the way premium comes down is demand comes down, and maybe the price of silver goes down. So you just have to be careful. And I would not get too fancy on spot price and premium. I would dollar cost average in. If it's going to be something that you want to add in, don't throw all your money in today into the silver market that you've allocated for it. Throw 10% of it in, and then every Friday or once a month you put so much money into the silver market and add to your silver stocks on an ongoing basis. That way, as the price fluctuates, you're not freaking out. I would not try to time the market. That's not how I did it. That's not how I would do it. I would not say, well, silver's high today, I'm not buying it. And then you sit and watch it go, over the next 5 years, go crazy, and you totally miss it. Or, hey, it's down today, I'm going to put all my money into it because it must be going down, and then you watch it continue to erode. I would take all that emotion out and put some percentage that you've allocated in now, and then just dollar cost average until you have what you want. Usually when you do strategic portfolio planning, you say, I want X percent in cash, X percent in precious metals, X percent in real estate, X percent in stocks, things like that. So you just have to decide how much of the silver by dollar do you want in your portfolio, and just work your way towards that goal. Spot, daily spot price, daily premium price. Know what that is by looking at it online before you go walk into somebody's store. Back to the screens. All right, so now you've made the decision you want to add precious metals. The price point for silver makes more sense to you than gold. So you're gonna buy some silver, and for some reason you chose JM Bullion. They're all of them look alike. So I'm just gonna show you this one because I'm familiar with it. So when you come in here and you choose silver, and I would choose, see the in stock and out of stock. I don't know if you care what out of stock there is. Who cares, right? You want to know what you can purchase. You need to look at these different options. You can buy bars, you can buy stamped coins, you can buy generic rounds. There are some world recognized currencies, currency silvers. There are 3 I would point out to you, like right here. The 1 ounce American Silver Eagle coin. This is sort of the world recognized, most recognizable silver coin. I'll tell you though, there are others. Here's the other one, the Canadian Silver Maple. All right, the silver maple leaf. All right, that's another one, and another one which I can't find on the screen right now. The third one is the British Silver Britannia. Now you don't have to buy 1 ounce rounds in currencies. I've chosen to do that. When I buy silver, I buy these. Okay? I buy the American Silver Eagle. Now you can buy generic rounds for much lower. The spot price won't change, but the premium will go down if you buy other things. So just be aware of that. You can even buy, look, they even have, like, I consider these trinkets, but like you can buy a bullet, and there's other examples in here. There's coins. I'm trying to find one. Here's one. Year of the Dragon silver round. This is the generic round. It doesn't carry any mint value or anything else like that. And I'm not saying that's bad, because a lot of people buy it because many times it can be cheaper. The premium is less on them. Like here, the Canadian silver maple is $27.79 an ounce. But for $1 cheaper, you can buy the 1 ounce Year of the Dragon round. So you just have to decide, do you like bars? Do you want 10 ounce bars? Do you want 1 ounce coins? There's just lots of different physical silver options to choose from. All right, 2 other things to talk about on the screen. You can buy them one at a time, or you can buy these tubes. So here's a tube of 20, and I've done it that way as well. And the last thing I want to bring up to you, where is it? Monster Box 500. All right. So when you see things like, here, let's just do this real time. When you see as low as $29.29, you'll probably find out that's for Monster Box quantities. So if you're going to buy 500, you can see it's $14,000. So it's a big nut Just depends on how much money you're going to put into silver. But if you buy a monster box, you're going to get the lowest available price. So tubes, monster boxes, and individual coins. It's just something I wanted you to be aware of. So this is going to be a long video. Sorry, guys. But here, I want to show you some charts here. This is what it takes to buy $1's worth as time goes on. And what you can see is what was essentially, back in 1800, it was 85 cents would buy you $1's worth of stuff. And today, it's about $24.50 to buy $1's worth of stuff. And you can see this thing really took off in 1913. This is when the dollars we know it today came into existence. The other way to look at it is the buying power of $1 today is down at about 4 cents on this chart. So the dollar is worth about 4 cents when you look at it, the historical value of the dollar. And this will show you by year the inflation rate and the value of $1, what it took to buy $1's worth. And I got to scroll. Sorry, I'm probably making you a little dizzy. But you can see now, in the later years, how much it takes for $1 to buy $1's worth of stuff. And there's 24.28. And then you can see the annual inflation rate here. The other thing I want to show you, so let me do this. Let me get back up here and show you the value of $1 over time. Right here. Versus the value of that gold ETX I was telling you about. This is GLD, Spider Gold Trust. And you can see the value over the last, I've got about 2.5, 3 years pulled up here. So I just wanted you to see the difference of what the value of the dollar, if you got it in your mattress, does versus the value, even if you buy a GLD, the ETF for gold. So guys, we'll go politics for a minute, not party politics, but one of the big questions that people talk about is what happened? Why can't families live the way we used to live? When you look back, really all the way up through the 70s, at least through the mid 70s, we used to live, my family did it. We lived on dad's salary, right? We did that for hundreds of years. Dad went to work, mom raised the family, and I know we can get into all sorts of sexist comments and conversation here. It's not appropriate for this video, but why was it possible in 1970 for one person to work, pay for a house, pay for a car or two, pay for life, and save for college for the kids? And now, with two people working with pretty decent jobs, you can't do it. Why is that? It's that dollar chart. It's the fact that today it takes $25 to buy what used to cost $1. Nobody's salary went up 25 times. And so really it was us coming off, when the U.S. abandoned the gold standard, August of 1970, I believe. From that moment forward, the dollar got to be inflated any way they wanted to. And that is the reason. That's the reason, and it gets worse every year now. So when it was 10 to 1, it was bad, but today it's 25 to 1. So I just wanted to I know it's a little bit political, and I try not to do that in these investment videos, but that's why. And that's why it's important to get into assets that grow with inflation, or at least are inflation proof. And that's why things like ETFs, gold and silver, real estate, these are assets that grow with inflation, not shrink. Cash shrinks, and jobs are cash, right? You are exchanging your time for cash. We call it a salary or a bonus or commission. But essentially, when we go to work, that's the same as cash. When we get paid for our time, when we exchange our time for salary, we are essentially turning ourselves into cash. And that's why I beat on you guys about you want your cash out working for you, because if you're the only one working, cash gets crushed as the inflation goes year by year. Well, year over year is not crazy. Well, I mean, the last 4 have been crazy in my opinion. But when you look at it generationally or intergenerationally, it changes the way society functions, and you're seeing it now. And that's the base reason. I don't know how many people knew that. I also want to talk about 2 other things I forgot to mention when we talk about the use of silver and why it might explode over time. I'm not saying it's going to, I'm saying it might. But part of the argument in the world is not only EVs, there are 2 other things that burn up a lot of silver, and we're using more and more and more of them every single year. Circuit boards use a lot of silver, and solar panels use a lot of silver. So as we shift and as we're politically driven to EVs, solar, and use of more and more computers, IT technology, you're using more and more silver. And the belief is that our consumption of silver will eventually outstrip the Earth's supply of silver, and will certainly outstrip our ability to produce it any much faster. So those are the arguments. I can't tell you if there's merit to them. I'm choosing to believe them, but that doesn't mean it's right. I just wanted to mention that because I forgot it when I was talking about use of silver. Guys, we're getting close to the end of this, man. I know it's a marathon session, but I also want to talk about, for silver, there's another phrase out there you need to be aware of, and that's junk silver. It's a horrible term, and I'm trying to de-lingo the world for you guys. Junk silver means it's bought for a different reason. It's bought by preppers, and you buy it in bags. Junk silver is any silver produced, I think it's before 1965. And you can go out on these same, you can do it in your pawn shops, you can do it in your gold and silver stores, or you can do it with these online brokers. You can buy bags of dimes and quarters and dimes, nickels, quarters, and 50-cent pieces, and even silver dollars that are minted back when they were 100% silver. And people use them because they think they're going to, if our economy goes to hell, if shit hits the fan, if we go Mad Max or whatever, however you want to say it, I'm going to have a bunch of this junk silver laying around because that's how we're going to pay for things. I don't subscribe to that theory. I own no junk silver. But if you're out in the world and you're doing your research, because this is the beginning of your knowledge journey, not your knowledge journey, you're going to get out there, you're going to hear junk silver. You're going to see these sacks of old silver coins. So they're bought by people who throw them in drawers and say, I'm going to put $10,000 of junk silver in my storage, however you store valuables. And if the world ever goes to hell, I'm going to have nickels and quarters and dimes laying around that I can pay for things with. So again, I don't do that. A lot of people do. It's something you can certainly look into. It's a long one. So the last subject for this one is, let's say you bought it. Let's say you're going to go and you're going to buy this silver, and you're going to buy it, and you're going to, what they call, take physical possession of it. So you're going to go to your pawn store, you're going to go to your local exchange, you're going to go online, you're going to buy silver, you're going to bring it home. You're going to do something with it, okay? What do you do with it? And so there are really 2 options. There's a third, it's a hybrid. It's too much for this video. You can either ask, if you do it online, you can ask them to vault it for you. They put it in their vaults and they take care of it for you. So if you choose to sell it, they just go into the vault, pull it out, and you can sell it back to them. Okay? Vaulted storage. It's a thing. It's all over. You can store it offshore. Grand Cayman's got a really nice facility. Others, you can store some of it on CONUS in the US. You can store some of it offshore if you choose to. Or you can do it yourself. You can bring it home and put it in your own vault. Or you can bring it home and send it to a vault of your choice, or have your online storage send it to the vault of your choice that isn't associated with it. It's up to you. you feel most comfortable? You know, there's a real community out there, and I'm partially bent this way. If I can't put my hands on it, it means I don't own it, right? I don't know if that's right or wrong. That's just I kind of go down that road. I'm a bit of a control freak. I'm that aggressive guy. No one's gonna take better care of it than me. I don't know if that's true. That's just my personality. So if you go all the way and you buy it, if you buy a couple coins from your local guy, you just got to bring it home and put it somewhere safe. But if you buy tubes of 20 or a monster box of 500, you got to really think about that. I mean, that's a lot of money. And if you buy a monster box of gold, if you buy 500 1 ounce gold coins times $2,000 each, that's big money. What are you going to do with it? You're going to vault it with them, you're going to vault it with a third party, or you're going to bring it home and store it in some secure manner. Oh my God, it's long. I'm sorry. I don't know how else to do this kind of stuff short. So this is it. I'm going to wrap it up. Get this thing uploaded. If you made it this far, nice job. Again, I emphasize this is the beginning of your knowledge journey, not your knowledge journey. This video can't do anything other than start you on your journey. I hope it helps. Ask questions, and we will talk again tomorrow. Bye, everybody.